trying to win a car race.
Should be a good one.
And as you're driving, saying, hey, make it run better.
You could have a posse of waifus.
Starting off kind of strangely.
Slaying the land.
Welcome to the show.
This is insanity.
Taking a critical look at the gaming news of the week.
This info is pretty shocking.
Somebody's got to give an answer to this.
This is Augmented Reality.
You are watching my favorite channel.
I've not heard of them.
The Triple S League. Enjoy, guys.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Augmented Reality Podcast, your source for news, leaks, and analysis of games in the gaming industry. Coming at you live on YouTube and Twitch and archived almost anywhere that you can find podcasts. Ash here with you with Subsidian and Moontag. As always, we're talking about cheese in the live chat because we have Sentinel Cheese with us. Hey, welcome to the show. Morning, evening, night to you, too. Sentinel Cheese says, I like cheese. And there is resounding agreement. I had some cheese and crackers, like some sharp, I found some sharp cheddar in the fridge and just had them on some salty crackers last night. Oh, so good.
Cheese is great. I watched a video earlier about how to make a Korean cheese dog, and I was like, I want to make this.
And a few days ago, I did a preliminary goat's cheese heated spread that I'm messing around with. So
okay,
so good.
Cheese is just the best. I mean,
which is so weird when you think of the process in making cheese, not today, but like where it was like 1,000 years ago. It's like, let's see if we can ferment this cheese.
Let's let these curds go moldy, and then we'll eat them. Yeah.
It's like somebody forgot the bucket and then spilled some lemon juice into it. They're like, oh hey, it did a thing. What does this taste like?
Yeah. Well, do you ever wonder how they figured out which mushrooms were poisonous for humans and which weren't? I feel like
trial and error.
Yeah. I feel like when I enjoy mushrooms, I'm like standing on the graves of thousands of people. But anyway, welcome to the show today. Meme of the day. Did you know when a short person waves at you, it's called a microwave? This one made me laugh too. Does Tennessee have a meth problem? I'm guessing it must. I don't really. But anyway, what would Jesus do? He wouldn't be making meth. I agree. I consulted the scriptures, and I can concur that he indeed turned the water into wine and not meth. So, so glad we have that out of the way. So we have a lot.
You only need to get high on your mother's love.
Yeah, exactly.
The quote from our favorite cartoon, Clone High. It's great.
I guess what was it? I guess
For
the
more
real.
jokes and memes,
there's a Clone High quote that's just on the edge of my brain. Oh yeah, that's Gandhi. I guess the driest love of all is abstinence. It makes no sense out of context. So just just don't try to don't try to understand it. But anyway, hello everybody, and please do slam that like button. Leave comments below and check out our Discord server if you like. It's a great place.
More memes and shenanigans.
More memes, more talking to people like the fine people we've got in our chat today. Also, new artwork, new high-res artwork up on the Patreon for our fine patrons. So check that out if you're subscribed there. Some high-res versions of Mooney's artwork, which she does live on Saturday Morning Legion. All right. So Chris Avellone has come out with a piece where he's kind of spilling what he can as far as what he knows about what the heck is going on with Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, which is far more subtitles than any video game should have. But anyway, where's my tab? Oh yeah, I put it right there where I wouldn't lose it, and so of course I lost it. So he had this article up on medium.com, so it's just it's a place where like anyone can post articles, I think. Anyway, so he put this up here, and I mean, he's been in the news a lot because of some some allegations last year of misconduct, allegations that then turned out
some
to
lies,
be...
allegedly,
Yeah,
some lies, and we know they're dirty, rotten lies.
Well, he even links to it here. He links to what happened last year, and then it's somewhere in here he links to like here's what actually happened in the accuser's own words. That's somewhere in here. But anyway, so what happened with Bloodlines 2? So as you may or may not know, so Chris Avellone is he's a writer for video games, and he's been involved in a lot of high profile projects. Has worked for the likes of BioWare, when they were in their RPG heyday, and what else has he done?
Interplay. Fallout. I mean, pick your favorite genre of game. Pick our favorite genre of game, and he either created it or had a major hand in writing the lore and the story revolving around it.
And he did work on the Star Wars, the Old Republic. Anyway, he's got a joke here about Darth Revan and Dark Nihilus. Which game is that I'm thinking of?
That's
Knights of the Old
original.
Republic.
Yeah, that's the original Knights of the Old Republic. Yeah.
Who would win in a fight between Darth Revan and Darth Nihilus? Spoiler: Revan always wins, according to Chris Avellone, and he would know.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so turns out, so he was involved with Vampire: The Masquerade Bloodlines 2, which is a sequel to Vampire Bloodlines.
Yeah, he was brought on according to the company, the primary company making the game, not Paradox, who was basically publishing the game, and who basically owned the rights for it at this point. He was brought on as a lead-ish.
Well, it turns out he was at the pitch meeting. He was involved in pitching this game to Paradox with the people at Hardsuit Labs. And it turns out that Hardsuit Labs actually pitched the project to Paradox with, Chris Avallone's involvement, as well as Brian Mitsoda, who was deeply involved in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I'm obviously not going to read this whole thing. I have isolated sort of the big takeaways from this article, and then we'll get Saib's analysis, because he's been talking to industry people from quite a bit today, trying to get a handle on what's going on with Bloodlines 2, because we just don't know. Some more additional context. Hardsuit Labs, the developer, was pulled off the project. We reported on this. How long ago was that?
This was news back in December, essentially.
Right. Okay, yeah.
So we were all kind of shocked, and we were like, what is going on with this game? Like, it was supposed to have been released like almost 2 years ago at this point. And I mean, that's what the sales were, but then it got delayed, and then it got delayed again, then it got delayed again, they are basically like, we're not making the game with Hardsuit Labs anymore. And it's been dead quiet now, as far as officially speaking goes. And this is why Chris basically spoke up on the matter. Mm-hmm. Also, during the time where there was these false allegations made against Chris, which basically, like, I did a lot of research into it. I have spoken with Chris. I will say that very clearly. I've spoken with him. I've gotten his side of things, and I can say for sure, based off of the other people that I've talked to, that this was all horse garbage. It was like the equivalent of basically a single guy asking a girl out was the worst way you could put any of these allegations into an actual like context. And if that, again, that is if that. And what we discovered, or what I discovered, was a lot of people just, saying, oh, well, we just feel that the gaming industry needs more Me Too moments, even if they don't exist. We'll just create them. That's terrible thinking.
So
and
we'll just try to destroy a man's career. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, and again, it's like this is what this level of fame gets you, and it's pretty gross. I am disgusted by this behavior. at any rate, I don't want to get too much.
Yeah,
into
we
these.
kind of we went into that a lot.
Again, people understand. People, you need to understand that, and I understand that. You know, my level of understanding on the situation on a, you know, event or a task or something like that going on is not everybody else's, and that you should never take for face value, which is the whole thing that we're talking about this for. There is no point why you should assume that somebody else is, you know, speaking truthfully on a subject, especially on a subject as serious as this. You should always like look into it and let the facts speak for themselves, right? So again, my commentary on this is somewhat, you know, one-sided. Obviously, I'm insulted, and it's not just because I like the guy. It's not just because he is somebody that we have spoken to a number of times. We've even interviewed him once on the channel. So yeah. Anyways, you take things as they are with that. As far as the story, though, he is in a place to know because, as we just said, he was basically there on the pitch floor, right? And then, according to Heartsuit, he was, and I believe according to Paradox as well, he was the lead writer on it. But then they later said that, oh, they hadn't used any of his stuff for a long time.
He says that as well in here. He says he was part of the pitch. He worked on the project from 2016 to mid 2018. He was not fired from the project when Hards, you know, last year when a whole bunch of other people were. His contract was up in mid 2018. It was a 30-month contract. I heard it was up, and they didn't renew it.
Now, there has been some smart aleck people saying, well, if you didn't get a, you know, re-up contract, that means you're fired. And my response to that is, you know your level of intelligence on a situation, and know when you're outclassified, you dumb person. Yes, in the world of writing, especially a freelance writer, contracts are the main thing, and most people are employed for 1 to 2 contracts. 2, I think, like 1 to 2 is the average. Like I think it's like 1.4, 1.3 is the average number of contracts a person fulfills. Why is that, you might ask, if you're not a professional in this industry, and that is because that's typically all they need to complete your writing. For like, if you're being brought back for like 5 consecutive contracts over the course of, you know, 10 years, you should be what's called an employee, right? Like you should be on payroll. You should, like, I mean, again, depending on what you're writing for and how much you're writing they're taking, you might have a writer might have 15 different contracts on the go. They might only have 1. It really depends on the scenario. So again, if you don't know what you're talking about, you'll say, oh, dude, that means you're fired. No, that's the average length of a contract.
Well, and I would imagine, I mean, that makes sense in gaming, because
especially a 30-month contract, that is near the full development cycle of a game.
Typically,
when you create a game,
this is clearly an exception to that.
Say what?
I said this. I mean, Vampire is clearly an exception to that. Bloodlines 2 has gone way beyond that. But
sorry. No. You're sorry. We're both misunderstanding each other. So when you have a writer arrive to write for a game, say you're making an RTS and you got a single player campaign you're bringing in, that writing for that single player campaign is most likely going to be done before you even hit alpha. And then that person's done their job. Like you don't need to stick around and tweak minor bits of the story over the next 2 years of development past that point. Like if the development for the game takes 4 years grand total, exactly 4 years, and you're writing out stuff and quests and stuff like that. If it's a low impact game as far as story goes, you know, like basically like the storyline of an RTS, where you've got like 15, 20 missions in a row. Basically you're writing for the world, then you're writing for the events that happen, then that's it. Then you're done. That's it. Like
and then
you're not being hired. There's no need for you to be hired on to write more content unless they're saying, hey, we're doing an expansion, can you write the expansion? Then again, you're going to be given a contract to finish that writing out. You're going to go over the process of basically you're going to accept the contract. Then about 2-3 months in, they're going to want you to deliver your first kind of like rough draft of the overall story. Then you're going to nail out certain other points. And then by the end of the time, which is usually about 1.5 years in, you've finished everything. They've gone over all the additional notes. Then the editors and the minor writers that come in and they tweak things here and there as needed later on by the game director. Like that's it. That's how this works.
Well, yeah, because once they start, once the voice acting's in production, you know, they're lip syncing all the lines and stuff. Yeah, you're not writing lines at that point.
Yes,
they're so the writer's job gets done a lot earlier. So yeah, so the odd thing here though is he did work on this game, writing for this game for 2.5 years, and Paradox and Hardsuit used nothing he wrote, and that's according to them, like they made that public during the whole allegation thing, which I guess trying to distance themselves from him. But then
which is so stupid. I need to comment on this, not on his situation, but on another situation. There was a voice actor in World of Warcraft who got an allegation made against him, and the allegation was basically, it was pretty light, and then it came out pretty quickly that it was false, 100% false. Blizzard and Activision still cut ties with the man.
Yeah,
it's like this is ridiculous. We're getting to levels. Sorry, I'm scrolling through this stuff. We're getting to levels where this is literally like extremely aggravating, because it's like these people are innocent. They're targeted by somebody who's out to make a buck, and in the process of them making a buck, they what's the term? They take, like, I want to say something more crass. Basically, they take a crap on everybody who actually is a victim and who's actually gone through something like that.
Yeah,
like, it's
disgusting. I'm glad you point that out, because we want to make sure, just since we're in the midst of this topic here, I want to clarify that, of course, we're not saying that no accusations are credible. Sadly,
unfortunately, there's a lot of them.
Yes, and my wife and I are very close to somebody who's trying to have their case resolved legally, and the stress, it's what this young woman's going through is like, it's unbelievable, and the guy who is, I believe, guilty, it just won't show up for court, or pulls all this bullshit that keeps getting things delayed, and it's agonizing to watch somebody go through that. But anyway, yeah, like Saib said, the fake allegations, the fake accusations harm the real victims. Yeah. Like so it's a really crappy thing to do. But anyway, getting back onto the sorry, go ahead, Moon.
I was just gonna say, growing up, I was under the impression that, when you go to the courts, it's generally innocent until proven guilty. Animus makes a comment in the chat where the new phrase is guilty until proven innocent, not the other way around.
And then even then, you're not actually there's no apology made by people who crapped on you, and it's terrible. And I mean, I've seen this close hand several times from multiple vantage points, and it's terrible all the time. And you don't want to make assumptions that it is a lie. At the same time, you don't want to ruin somebody's life by or ruining your friendship with these people just cause. And so, yeah, sorry, little tangent, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, yeah, tangent but relevant, and I think. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of agreement in the chat here, but anyway, yeah. So what does Chris know for sure about the state of Vampire Bloodlines 2? Well, so we talked about how he was involved in pitching the project. He's worked on the project from 2016 to mid 2018, and he's also confirmed in his article that's on the screen right now that Paradox / Hardsuit has used nothing that he wrote.
Yeah.
Which is disappointing. Hope he got a big paycheck, but
Well, it's weird, and somebody might be asking, why would they do that? And so here's a little tidbit of like some stuff that I have been pulling together through various sources and some people that are very, very, very close to this. And I've got to say categorically that I think that, not categorically, I believe this is a situation where there's basically a fluff ghostwriter. So there's a ghostwriter who wants to write for the main project, but they feel that they need a bigger name on the project. So it would be, and again, I don't want to throw this game. I'm not insinuating that this game isn't good. I'm not insinuating that this game is garbage, but it's like the Elden Ring, right? They got George R.R. Martin to come in and write some of the thing. How much did he write, right? So I'm not saying this is the case. I'm just using this as an example. They want to get people excited about this world, and clearly, he's got all the success of Game of Thrones and all this kind of stuff going on, and clearly, if they can get him to get his name on the box, that'll increase sales, right? That's what they're thinking. That's what everybody's thinking. That's what everybody wants. So they bring him on, and maybe, and again, just using this as an example, this is not true, obviously, but maybe he only wrote 1% of the script. He's like, yeah, call it the Elden Ring, and we can have some like ghosty guy, get powers from other things, and here's the lore for it. I scratched out something on a napkin. It's like, great, can we put your name on the box? It's like, if I get 5%, sure. And they're like, done.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't think that, I don't know if he wrote any of the script, but he was involved in the world building of
Elden Ring. Exactly. And
yeah.
Again, I'm not discrediting.
You're using that as an example, yeah.
I am just using it as an example. If George R.R. Martin had very little interest in this and was just basically getting a bonus paycheck. Now, I'm not saying that's the case, and I'm not saying that's the case here either. But what you might have, just so you kind of understand the concept, now another writer can come in, write a ton of the stuff. The bigger writer's name sells the game, but it's the smaller writer who kind of comes out later as being one of the key writers on the script and ends up that launches their career. And again, this is done a lot. It's not done all the time, but it's done a lot in both movies, television, video games. It is done fairly frequently, as well as ghostwriting. The ghostwriting's a huge industry. Very, very.
Oh yeah, you know how
very beneficial.
Some of these authors that are like cranking out 3 books a year, 4 books a year, like huge novels.
Yeah,
they write like summaries. They write chapter summaries, and then they give it to a ghostwriter or the publisher hires a writer to like flesh it out into a full book. And then
exactly. But they're selling the book based off of the guys, the mega authors rep, right? Because again, it's like 90% or some crazy high stat, like 99% of the books that you're going to pick up and read in your lifetime are written by like a fractional percentage of the authors that are writing books in your lifetime.
So some of those authors don't even exist. I read the Hardy Boys when I was a kid, and there were like hundreds and hundreds of them. And I was like, how does this guy write so many books? Yeah, he didn't. The guy didn't even exist. It's like this team of ghostwriters. They just put some made up name on it. But anyway, yeah. So,
but because
it sounds like
it
sounds like nothing Chris Avellone wrote is going to be in the game. In the final version of Vampire the Masquerade, Bloodlines 2. But again, we don't even know where this game is, who's working on it, when it's coming out, what state it's in. We know nothing. And Chris Avellone knows nothing as well. As he reveals in this article, nobody he worked with from Hardsuit Labs when he was working with the company, he says nobody he was working with is still at the company. And the producers at Paradox that he was working with are no longer with Paradox. So like everybody's gone. So he's not even connected to anybody who is still working on this project. He doesn't know why everybody was fired or why the project was taken away from Hardsuit Labs. And
we do have a little bit of a trail to pick up on this, and that would be if and a lot of these questions kind of roll around this. So we know that at one point Paradox bought stock in Hardsuit Labs to the tune of about 33%. We don't know if somebody else has moved in and acquired a larger percentage, or even another percentage that Paradox didn't feel comfortable having with. And we already know of the Lord of the Rings. Sorry, was it the Lord of the Rings game? Yeah, it was the Lord of the Rings game that was canceled because Amazon was working on all this new tech, all this new game, all this cool stuff with this developer, and then Tencent went in and bought out a majority share in that company. And so now, Amazon basically was in the position, well, do we allow them to continue to make the game? And basically Tencent gets to walk in and gets to look at all of our gets to look at all of our fancy tech for this. Is that what we're going to allow them to do? And they had to make that decision, whether or not that was something that they were going to be okay with. And they weren't, and they canceled the project rather than have it go on. And they couldn't and clearly they couldn't find a replacement for it. But that may not be necessarily what happened here. So it could be that Hardsuit was bought out in a majority or a minority by a competitor who wanted to see what was going on with that game and who wanted to glean a whole bunch of access, information, tools, and story to basically rip it off or to do something else. And they maybe weren't comfortable with that. That's an option. The other option, which is I would think is probably more likely or is in combination with the first one, is that Hardsuit just wasn't up to it. And the writers weren't up to it.
They've never done an RPG before, have they?
No. And what you find out now by looking at their list of recent hires and the fact that they laid off about 3 to 4 of their writers, which was almost the entire writing staff. They have not hired any new writers. They're working on a new project, and they're hiring a bunch of tech guys and engine guys and other stuff. So, to me, that says something that perhaps this game hasn't perhaps Hardsuit was not up to it. They couldn't get it done. They couldn't build it the way that they wanted to, and because of that, they can't make anything, right? That's narrative based going forward, and they're steering clear of it. If that's the case, then we got ourselves basically a game that failed to hit its targets, and they need to basically go over it from the beginning and completely rebuild it. So
and that I mean, that's massive if that is the case. That's just basically, if they're having to rebuild that from the ground up, we're going to be we could be waiting for this game for a long time. Again, we don't even know who's working on it, if anyone is working on it right now, unless you've found something out through your poking around today, Saib. But
I do not have a name of a new company. I know that they are working on it with a new company. I just don't know who that is.
Okay. So work is being done, but
I do not know the state that the game is in, how fast it's looking to be done, or what the overall direction of the game is going to be.
Now, over at E3 and other summer events, we saw 2 other vampire games, franchise spin-off games. But nothing about Bloodlines 2, obviously, but 2 other games that are set in the same universe, same storyline, that kind of thing. Are they pushing those, you think, because Bloodlines 2 is a ways off?
No, I think vampires are just getting back into style, and basically we had an ability to kind of see this kind of come to fruition with Bloodlines as far as like the big RPG, but I think they probably looked at it and went, wow, there is not much here. The game is miserable. And, they saw the reaction of what happened when Cyberpunk came out in an unfinished state and said, there's no way we can do this, because this is Paradox's big entry into, like, what would have been essentially a triple A RPG. In a they do RPGs, and they do a lot of amazing games, but they're not an RPG, not like that. They're grand 4X and stuff like that kind of games, and more pen on paper kind of game development, I guess you could say. They don't actually make pen and paper games, but like that style of like thoughtfulness, right?
Right. Yeah. All right. So I guess, I mean, this may not be a satisfying answer for some of you, but I guess the truth of the matter just is we don't know. Chris Avellone doesn't know.
I know there's a few people in our community who have pre-ordered this game. And I will say right now, I doubt very much if we will see this game this year. We will probably see this game in the next 2 years, but I do not think we're going to see it this year. Get your money back for this. It's obviously not coming soon. If it was coming out this year, they would have mentioned anything about it in any of their press and event stuff that they've had lined up for a while now. If they've had to gut and rebuild the game completely from scratch, then we're looking at a substantial wait list. Probably 2023. So don't let a big corporation sit on your, pre-order money. Get that back, and then look at it and again, it may not even be close to the same game. And if anybody is listening who has any pull in this, I would say make it give it third person. Like, don't make it exclusively third person. Just give us the option to have third person, because you've seen what happens when players are playing a character that they can't see. The level of interest for that character doesn't hold very much, especially in an RPG setting. I know you disagree with me.
No, I'm just saying, I don't think you can. I don't want to go down that road again. We've had this argument, but I mean, there's so many other problems with Cyberpunk.
But it is still my opinion that if you're making a game, for the love of God, if it's an RPG, there's a reason why people want to look at their characters in an RPG.
Yeah, especially if you go through the time and effort to make your character.
Exactly.
Like, why can't I look at my character?
Oh, agreed. I mean, I agree. I think it didn't make much sense. I mean, again, we've had this discussion how many times now? I just don't think I don't think it's fair to say, oh, they made it first person and then look what happened to that game. Like, there's obviously way more.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that as far as like the reception to that particular mechanic.
Yeah. Well,
the reception to that particular mechanic was pretty lackluster. I can't tell you how many times I looked at comments and saw somebody going, why on earth did they not have this? I don't understand.
I think the people who wanted it third person were very vocal.
I don't think that was the case. I think that those people were, obviously. But I think a lot of other people were like, why is there a character creator when I don't see my character? I think that is a fair common question.
That is a very fair. I mean, I would agree. That's a very fair question to ask. Adamisk says, "Hey, Ethan's hands and I went through an incredible journey through the village." Oh yeah, Resident Evil. Yeah, exactly. Well, I enjoy a good first-person game, but I agree with the whole idea of, if you're going to if you're gonna put such immaculate detail into creating your character, you want to see your character, right?
Yeah, like in Baldur's Gate, that was really fun.
And I hope
getting to see people go through that.
Yeah. I hope that Baldur's Gate 3 comes out with more options for the visual design of your character. I was expecting more of a Fallout 4 type, where you can morph the face any which way you want, but I was actually surprised when I got into the character creator and it was like preset faces. There's still lots of variety. Don't get me wrong. You can make your character look a lot of different ways, but with only a few faces to pick from, I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one of those things that it's easier to do if you have a mechanic an engine that's built for that. And the DOS engine is not built for that currently.
DOS, Divinity Original Sin, not disk operating system. Yeah. Just in case.
Just in case there's any 80-year-olds
anyone from the 80s listening. Well, no, when you said DOS is not built, but that's where my brain went first because
yes, because we're 80 years old.
Exactly. We sound pretty good for our ages.
I said
right?
Norton Commander in a room of nerds a while ago, and everybody looked at me like I was. They're like, is that some kind of new game? I'm like, oh my god, you babies, you children. Oh.
So anyway, one final thing to say about this. Chris Avellone agrees with Saib in the fact that he believes he was brought on to the Vampire Project to give it RPG cred. He also believes that Brian Mitsoda was brought on to give the project, quote, more validity. And he said this publicly in this article. So, he's kind of the impression that they wanted his name and Brian Mitsoda's name on the project as a marketing thing. So that's his opinion. So he kind of agrees with you there, Saib. And then I guess there's not much more to say on that. If you're interested in the article, again, you can find it at chrisavellone.medium.com. He's posted a few things there, but he's got, this is his most recent one. And it's just called What the F Happened to Bloodlines 2. And it's actually a very good read. It's got some witty quips in it and some humor, but also some some good insight.
There's also I was doing some digging around, and yes, there is some. I probably shouldn't mention the company, but there was a company brought in to do the voice work and some music for the game, and that stuff was extremely expensive, and it was basically all done. This includes some actors that have not yet been named for the project. So, yeah, and I mean they're not like movie stars, but they're big names in the voice acting world, and that didn't come cheap. That came very expensive. So yeah,
it's sounding like a lot of that will have just been down the drain now.
Well, not down the drain. Coming from somebody who's connected to Paradox, it's been said that they are very little chance that they will cancel the project.
Right, but if
rebuilding
as you said
from scratch, yes.
I mean, if they keep the same story intact, then there's a good chance they'll be able to salvage a lot of that voice acting. But if they totally change the story, then they might have to start from scratch on that.
Yeah, that's a big question, right?
Yeah.
Like, how much can they salvage?
Mm-hmm.
And again, we're pretty certain at this point that the game just wasn't up to snuff, and that they didn't have the ability, the experience, or the skills to really bring out that RPG. And I believe that is now more or less doubly confirmed now that we're looking at very, very, like the fact that this company is not hiring for the people to do another RPG, which means that I think that it was, wasted effort, basically.
All right. You are listening to the Augmented Reality Podcast. We love seeing everybody so active in the live chat. If you want to keep the conversation going after the live broadcast, we welcome you to join our Discord community. You can find the link in the description below, a place where you can chat with us and other Triple S community members, aka the Triple S Legion, about all the things we love to talk about. Stay up to date about everything we're doing here at the Triple S League. You can click the link below to join and say hi to us in the welcome channel. So, Moon, what's been going on the server lately?
Oh, so many memes and lots of animal pictures. Oh my gosh, there was this really great hug in the animals channel, and not to give it away, but it was like Venom. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
You know what what I've been noticing is the Cyberpunk 2077 channel is still lighting up on a daily basis. Lots of conversation going on there. Still, I go and scroll through it every now and then.
I don't think we can count Cyberpunk out until we see what happens with the DLC. Like, obviously.
Well, even if the game remains crap forever, it is still something that's definitely culturally relevant for gaming. And
again, I don't think it will be crap forever, because I believe that they are, like, they've been here before. They really dropped the ball on Witcher 3 on release, and a lot of people never played the majority of people who played Witcher 3 did not play the release of Witcher 3. They played through Blood and Wine.
Yep, that's what I
all
joined
of the
in
improvements on. And all of the improvements since then. So if they can pull that off again, then yeah, I believe Cyberpunk will be great in about 2 years.
Yeah, basically, work out the kinks.
But we'll see from here. And obviously, they want to showcase that they can fix this, and that this is fixable, because the fixes that they put out right now didn't change much as far as the gameplay goes. It just fixed the obvious glaring bugs and issues that the game actually had when, again, running on 8-year-old hardware that they should never, ever, ever have released it on. I don't know what they were thinking, like putting that through to be, officially supported by the base PlayStation, the base Xbox. Like, my goodness, that's ridiculous.
Moon, do you have the Twitch chat up? We got some messages from Jagos.
Oh, I don't. Hang on. Hi.
You've got anime voice going on here.
Yes, I feel like a cartoon today.
Our job, the job that me and Moon do, it is highly stressful, and some days all you can do is sit back and go, well, fun times. Not the other F word.
So, I mean, there's some in the chat on YouTube's. We're getting a few of our people are saying that they played Witcher 3 at launch, and yes, it had issues, but
it wasn't this bad. Yeah, no. Again, I'm not saying that it was the equivalent problem. It's just that there was a lot of problems with the original.
Sure, and but were the problems with the core design of the game? Because that really is where some of the problems.
Yes, I understand that's what some people have issues with, the core design versus core concept versus that. And again, we've talked a lot about that, the mess ups of the core concept that was done over and over and over again, despite people saying, hey, you really shouldn't do this, multiple times. Make sure you have this there, make sure you have that there, and never getting to that point of making sure that stuff's added properly. So I don't know. Again, I'm not saying, I understand that there's big differences between the two, but what I'm saying is that the concept of fixing the problems, that's something that they've done a good job with before. That's what I'm saying.
Right. I think
if they're good at fixing it before, then they'll be good at fixing it again. And it's not impossible to rip out an entire core system and reboot it.
I know, but you're kind of talking about...
It's a lot of work, but it's not impossible. It's not unheard of.
It's not unheard of, but it's like renovating the house versus replacing a totally cracked foundation. Like, it's a...
Well, again, when it comes to the systems that are inside the game, you can actually replace that thing. It's not the same as a broken foundation on a house. It's not. It's useful to explain it in that kind of a setting, But in one setting, you literally have to like basically rip out or move the house out, rebuild the foundation, then move the house back onto the new foundation.
Well, the point is that
that's not exactly what's going on here if they choose to completely renovate and alter several major systems within the game.
Right, but I mean,
they can
I'm
do
trying
that.
to remember what I was reading. It wasn't in the context of Cyberpunk, but I was reading or watching something about this whole idea and how there's so many interacting systems that you can
again we
you
see
change
this happen
you change a core thing, like there's a ripple effect to lots of other parts of the game.
Yes, and we see MMOs deal with this all the time. And is there a problem in fixing it? Is it always something that's easily fixable? No, not necessarily, but it is something that is doable versus like, I mean, they've ripped out and gutted whole systems in multiple MMOs over the course of just a year and completely rebuilt those experiences. And there's a number of MMOs that have had failed launches that have redesigned themselves from the ground up. And again, talking about failed launch, you look at No Man's Sky, there was a lot of extremely core problems wrong with that game, including a whole bunch of issues that were related to things that people would say, oh, you can't change that now, that's baked into the game. And they changed that stuff completely. So I don't think that, I think some people think that it's, gone, but it's not gone that far yet.
Well, all power to them. I mean, I hope they can, I hope that they will pull something good out of it. Mm-hmm. I really do. Jagos says, lesson, you will have to wait a year to see what a game will be. Well, that seems to be the case with AAA a lot lately. It's getting very, very disheartening,
Yeah, well, it's like they get so excited to put out a deadline, be like, hey guys, we got a thing. Wait till you see this thing. And they're like, oh crap, guys, we're not done the thing. Let's just put it out anyways. We'll fix it with patches.
Yeah, exactly. And when they have the audacity to do like what they did with Anthem, put out a trailer for a game that did not exist.
Which again is why there's a lot of people a lot of companies are not doing the showcase anymore. They're just going to show you stuff that's not gameplay and be like, all right, well, if we screw up on something, it's not us.
Mm-hmm. And then Jagoats says, meanwhile, SOR4 has been great. What's SOR4? I should know, but has been great.
Season of the Reaper. I didn't know people still play that.
Streets of Rage. Okay, Streets of Rage.
Okay, fine.
Oh,
yeah.
So there's the thing. Like, there have been some fantastic games coming out. Resident Evil 8, fantastic in my opinion. Not everybody's cup of tea, obviously, but there's also tons of great games in the indie space. And Baldur's Gate 3, I mean, I've just recently played it for the first time on Friday. And then we live streamed it on Saturday. There's lots of good stuff. Unfortunately, there's lots that's also getting delayed. But this is a fantastic time to dive into some indie games. When all the AAA stuff's being delayed because of lockdowns and stuff. This is a fantastic time to dive into some indie games, some older games, maybe some stuff in your backlog. Lots of great stuff to play. And hopefully AAA sorts itself out. But if they don't, I mean, if every AAA, big budget company remains crap until the end of time, there's still so much good stuff to play out there. Right. The indie and the, smaller studios pulling off really amazing things. Just looking at, again, I still get blown away when I boot up Kingdom Come Deliverance and, just what, and that game's 3 years old now. What a relatively small, like, it's not, it's not three guys working in a basement. It's a studio with a whole bunch of employees, but a relatively small studio was able to produce. That shows you there's hope for the industry, and there's lots of good stuff to play. So don't lose too much heart. But Chris Tales. There's folks listing stuff in the chat. So yeah, and I mean, go on the Discord server and find out what other people are playing. I've seen a lot of people find games they love just by talking to people on the Discord server, and they say, oh yeah, you should check this one out, you should check that one out. I've found great games that way. Lots of good stuff to play. Did Astarion ever forgive me? You know what? I don't know, because I actually started over. I decided to tweak my character a bit. She's basically the same, but I wanted to do a bit more of a smooth playthrough now that I kind of know what I'm doing a little more. And I also I swapped out my character's background and made just a couple of tweaks. And so
you picked a new name.
And I picked a name too. Yes, because I forgot to choose a name when I first created my character. So my character was Tav. I was like, Tav.
I know, it's so funny.
But did Astarion ever forgive me for shooting him? Yeah. So go if you're not sure what he's referring to there. Go check out our main YouTube channel, the Triple S League. I put up a couple of funny videos of some of my Baldur's Gate 3 adventures, including one where I accidentally shoot Astarion, and Saib basically died laughing. It was pretty great. So we were on a live stream too. It was hilarious. All right, rapid fire stories to end out the show today. So after more than 10 years, it's still too soon to say when Beyond Good and Evil 2 might be out. I've only been able to skim the first part of this article, but apparently Ubisoft has recently affirmed that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still happening, but we don't know anything about it or when it's coming. And we saw it, when was it? 2018, 2019? We saw a trailer.
Didn't we see it in 2015? I'm pretty sure we saw it in 2015.
Well, that's before we were even doing this channel. So, I mean, I didn't see it back then.
No, we started 2014. Actually, no, we started 2013.
Summer 2015 is our first video, our first podcast. But anyway, we started game development back in 2013. Maybe that's what. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So long time, and we don't know when it's coming. But apparently, it still is. It still is a thing. That will be never. Well, I mean, maybe. I mean, who knows? Maybe it'll just be in development hell forever. But so ahead of its launch, Humankind decided to drop de novo DRM to avoid performance problems. Yes,
thank God. Oh my goodness. I missed that story. That's great news.
And
great news, everybody.
This this is from the content requests channel on our Discord server. So if you have stuff you want to hear us talk about, go post some links there. Links to news articles or just topics.
Any 4X game has significant heavy weight to it. And so I'm very happy because I was noticing some performance hits, and I was like, I really hope they get this fixed before the game launches. But turns out they pulled it, so that's amazing. Good job.
Well done. And this on the heels too. I don't have it because it was a YouTube video, so I don't have an article here. But someone else had posted on our Discord again about how I think it was Resident Evil 8, the performance was suffering because of the DRM. These companies just have to
get over yourselves. You do not need DRM. Yeah. Even if you have 100,000 steals, that's not the same as when it comes to losses. And there's ways you can play around it by having like limited time, rewards and stuff like that for people who actually did buy the game, and just delivering it to them in the form of like these like little micro DLC that's free or something like that. This goes a long way. There's lots of companies that do that, and it works out great for them.
I just when I think that iTunes figured this out over a decade ago. And they just removed DRM on all, on the music that you bought through. At least that's how it used to be. I don't know if that's changed, but you buy a song through iTunes or Apple Music, whatever the hell they call it now. It's just an MP3 that downloads to your computer. So yeah, I could. They made it easier and safer to just get the music legitimately, and people will do that. People pay a big premium on convenience. That's why someone will pay $15 for an Uber Eats driver to bring them a coffee.
And again, I need to point out that not every theft is a lost sale. There's a lot of companies who think, oh yeah, look at all those sales you're losing. If you brought in DRM, you'd get 250,000 more sales. No, if you made your game unstealable, chances are significantly that you're just going to lose those people as gamers. Now again, who are those people? Most of them are, young kids who don't have the money. And you know what happens? You know what happened to the vast majority of those kids? They grew up, they got a job, and then they bought everything that they wanted. So again, it's like, maybe it's not necessarily a bad idea to let these kids, play for free, essentially. It's not necessarily legal, but
it's like it's not like we're saying, go ahead and steal everything.
Yeah, we're not saying just go ahead and steal, because that's not the case. But
it's like, understand where people are coming from.
Because you're not
the
necessarily losing
harm.
Those
like,
things as sales.
You're punishing the people who buy your game legitimately because they have to suffer through these performance problems caused by the DRM, and I mean, games get cracked within 2-3 days anyway. Mm-hmm. So what's even the point? Like, it just seems like such a it seems so pointless. It seems so pointless. Like, if someone wants,
how dare you?
Someone wants to steal the game, they will crack that DRM off there. The cracks exist within 2 or 3 days. And if someone wants to take the risk of infecting their computer with massive malware by doing that, it's a risk, So yeah, another reason not to do it, but like Saib said, there are other ways you could tackle this problem without installing these resource hogging, useless pieces of crap software on our machines. Here's a funny one. Snoop Dogg's been streaming Madden apparently. And his stream has been muted for like a week. For like 5 or 6 streams, he's been on mute, and he doesn't realize it. And his fans can't tell him because his chat on his Twitch stream is emote only. So a bunch of people watching him have been trying to get the message through via emotes. And it's just not getting through.
I bet you this is part of his plan. Like some marketing guy is like, hey, this is going to be brilliant. You're going to stream for a week, and there's going to be no sound. And that's just going to draw in all these people with these clever ways of trying to find a way to send the message to you that you're muted, and they're all going to be showing up to let's get 10,000, let's get 150,000 people in the chat. Send him all of these things in this coded thing, and maybe that'll figure it out. And then, as soon as he hits that peak numberage, he's like, "Right, I'm gonna turn the sound back on now."
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe. Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, it's working. Because under what other context would we be talking about Snoop Dogg's Twitch stream? Also, he's been getting thousands upon thousands of people watching him, regardless. So.
Yeah, doesn't he get a lot of donations too? It's I
have no idea.
What? I'm pretty sure Snoop Dogg doesn't need it.
Honestly,
just saying, I don't know if he does or not or whatever, but usually multimillionaires don't need the money. Just saying.
Well, regardless, life's too short for me to spend time watching the Snoop Dogg stream. But for those of you who enjoy that, all power to you. Let's see. couple of other things. Tencent bought Sumo. I can't remember if you...
Yeah, this is bad news.
I can't remember if you sent me this, Saib, or if this was on Discord, but...
No, I sent it to you.
Oh, okay.
They snapped that sucker up. They bought it out lock, stock, and barrel.
I mean, I've never heard of any of these games. Hot Shot Racing, Sackboy, WST Snooker.
Oh, billiards.
So anyway, they've Sumo. Oh, it's a big company. 14 studios in 5 countries.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Huge.
Carl Cavers, chief executive of Sumo, said the opportunity to work with Tencent is one we just couldn't miss.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Okay.
Blink twice if there's a gun to your head. Like, yeah.
If somebody's trying to make you say something, you can signal us for help.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
I
Tencent,
mean,
like,
why anybody would sign on willingly to this is just, it's maddening. What the hell is wrong with you? Oh, hey, let's sign on with a country that's backed, or a company that's backed by a dictator.
Essentially.
And they had 919 million pounds to throw at this. Holy shit.
Oof.
Yeah.
So anyway, that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
What's this one about? JC's staff producer at Sushi Fujishiro reveals that rather than changing things for foreigners, Anime Studio chooses to simply carry on with our style. I don't know anything about this. You tell me about this, Saib. You sent me this one earlier today.
Which one?
The Anime Studio one.
Oh, yeah. So, anime, as you may not know, has replaced comic books and a bunch of other media as in their weight class as far as like what they make. In some cases, anime studios and major publishers are now making more than many of the cable stations today that produce and make shows all the time. And somebody came to them and said, your art style is just, I mean, it's nice, but have you thought about maybe toning it down, or hey, maybe becoming more Western, or hey, maybe we could just colonize your art style, considering that that's something that we've often told people is bad and wrong and is not something that you should do. But hey, we're a bunch of big bloody hypocrites who don't give a rat's butt about what you think or about your style or about your culture or anything like that. We don't care about any of that.
Again, like, what under what other circumstances would someone dare in this day and age to be like, yeah, you should change your cultural style?
Yeah, to fit us. Anyways, the reaction from this was absolutely golden. They said, well, considering that anime has done so well on its own, under our original style and culture, I think we'll just keep doing what we've been doing. Yeah. I don't think we need to change for a bunch of foreigners who don't even watch our content. They just complain about everything that we do. I'm pretty sure we don't need that. And I was like, preach it, brother.
Yeah, just do your thing.
Yeah, you go right ahead. I think you are doing fine.
I'm not, I'm not the biggest anime fan in the world, and I've never read a manga, but
you're really missing out.
I know there are lots of good ones and lots of good stories. It's just never something that I was exposed to as a kid. So it's like, well, I mean,
so much of it. It's so good.
Well, I'm telling I need a really good service to start consuming some of that, even if I just have it on in the background, so I know what the hell people are talking about when they talk about the shows or something. But I was the kid who, like, I wasn't allowed to read superhero comics because violence, and so I had a Spider-Man comic when I was 10 years old. I had a Spider-Man comic hidden at the back of my bookshelf.
You rebel.
I know. Like, someone gave it to me at school. I brought it home. I like pulled the books forward on my bookshelf. It slid the comic book back there, and hid it there. And I would pull it out and read it. And yeah, this is like the worst thing I did when I was a kid. I'm hiding Spider-Man comics where kids are hiding porn magazines or magazines. Remember when porn was in magazines? But anyway, so
it's like I said, you don't have to reinforce that we're from the 1950s anymore than you have to.
Yes. Yes, those ankles used to just get me. Anyway, I can't remember. I don't remember the point I was trying to make. Peloton, the exercise bike company, plans to launch an in-app video game where you pedal to control a rolling wheel. Now, this is a clever idea. It's not a new idea.
It's not.
When I was a kid, I went to a gym, like a rec center, and they had exercise bikes that were hooked up to Super Nintendo systems. And there was like this 3D biking game that you could play while riding the exercise bike. And so the handles actually turned and you could race around the track. But anyway, nice. It is a very cool idea. And obviously the graphics and tech are much, 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 much better now. But, I mean, anything that motivates people to exercise, anything that might motivate me to exercise more is a good thing, I think.
I immediately went, when I saw this and I was looking at the app, I was like, that looks half decent. I am now considering getting a Peloton. So, yeah.
Well, if I'm looking for a new, like my exercise bike did fall apart. Like the pedal has fallen off like 3 times. And you have to order this special tool in order to fix it and replace it. And I've tried like 3 times, like I've put it back on 3 or 4 times and it keeps falling off. So I might need a new one soon, but yeah. And then, I mean, I don't know. We're at the end of our time. We got to wrap up, but so, Take-Two's been going, or Rockstar, somebody's been going after, GTA San Andreas Mods. So
a big shock there.
Yeah.
Oh dear, you're modding our game. We don't want you to mod a product that you bought from us.
How dares?
How dare you?
Well, and the problem is it's technically does fall under DMCA because they released this Grand Theft Auto San Andreas mod that transforms the game into Vice City Stories, and that got taken down. Wait a minute, this is a different one. GTA Underground was taken off of ModDB for a DMCA takedown. So yeah, they're going after all these these GTA modders.
And again, I just have the opinion that if you bought a product and you are doing server-side alterations or offline alterations to a product that you bought, and you're not cheating and you're not hacking the game and you're not breaking the game, you're modifying the game for personal use under personal use scenarios, then I think you have every right to do that. I have every right to modify a game that I bought, that I play, that does not interfere with the way that other people play the game.
Oh, sure.
Because where does the line stop? Like,
well, the problem is that when you share it online, they can technically say no, you're.
I know. I'm not talking about the law as is. I'm talking about the law as the way that I would have written. I would write it the way that I think it should be done. And I think if you're modding, if you got an MMO and you got a mod that changes your armor tint from blue to green, I think that you should be able to like do that. And if you want to sue the pants off of the company because they threatened you or said no, you can't do that, and they shut the thing down, I think you should have every right to like go after them hard. Because like, who the bloody care? Like, maybe I'm doing it because I'm colorblind. Like, seriously, there's 1,000 reasons why I can improve the product that I bought for myself. God, I hate it. I hate it so much because these people, like, not only are they saying no to something that is by all intents and purposes, your right. If you want to remix an Elvis song at home, you could do that. There's nobody stopping you. If you want to sell that, well, obviously you're getting into some other territory. But if you're just like, hey, I've created a thing with the thing that I bought, with the things that I own, like when you got a company coming in and say, excuse me, you can't do that. Like, where does that line stop? Are they going to start telling you how you can or cannot play the game? So you're role playing in our game that's supposed to be you running around shooting people. If you don't start shooting people right away, we're going to have a serious problem here. You're going to face jail time. It's like, just no. And I know that's coming.
From some companies,
it's going to come eventually.
Yeah. Again,
because the way that you play the game must fall into their rigorous level of like how you should experience the game.
Yes,
and again,
because they've carefully crafted it to squeeze the most amount of money possible out of you.
Biggest stick that you can, and just Anyways, I'm done.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up there. But a lot of things fall under. I mean, I think that's related to things like right to repair, etc. I agree with Jagos on Twitch. Seriously, need to redo gaming laws. Yeah, there's a lot of digital copyright laws, things like that are just hopelessly out of date, and that's why systems like YouTube's system can be abused. And it sucks. But anyway, lots of good going on. I don't want to end on that negative note. There is lots of good going on in gaming right now. And we're glad you are with us for this show, but also for the celebration of it all in our community, just being together as a group of gamers, talking about all the stuff that we care about and just enjoying games together. It's fantastic. So if you are looking for a place to just connect with other gamers and have some fun and talk, join up on the Discord server. Check it out below. Also, if you're new to us, of course, do slam that like button, hit the subscribe button, all of that. But check out our main channel, the Triple S League. This is not our main channel, this Triple S Podcasts. Our main channel is the Triple S League. You can find it linked in the description below. You'll find it on the, there's lots of ways you can find it. But lots of other content over there. We got comedy stuff. We've got guides for various games. We've got all kinds of other things. So check it out. As we said, we've been putting content up there since 2015, and no plans to stop anytime soon. So, yeah, come along with us. Anyway, thank you so much to our Patreon supporters, our channel members, our other folks who support us in various ways, like boosting our Discord server or being subscribers on Twitch. Really appreciate all of that. It helps a ton. You have no idea. And so we really appreciate you all. You've seen some of the names glittering at the top of the screen throughout the show. If you're watching the video version of the podcast, you've seen the names of our Patreon supporters. Really appreciate all of you folks. Thank you so much. And with that, we'll wrap up. So take care, everybody. Have a great week. We will talk to you again very soon. This is Ash on behalf of Cybe and Moontag. Thank you so much for listening. Ciao.